So, what are we doing?
Kick.
What's the second word?
Kick.
Jumping is the second word. So, you can only do your jump kicks as good as you can do your kicks on the ground. So I'm gonna have everyone spread out so you can get warmed up. Because we just need some weight onto your legs here. So I don't mean squat all the way down, but what I mean is accept some weight onto your legs as opposed to just standing up straight. So when I say load, everyone bend their knees just a little bit. So load. Then you are going to push into the ground as hard as you can. Try and get the top of your head to touch the ceiling. Does that make sense? Don't worry about landing. Your feet will take care of that. They're not going anywhere. So just try. We're going to load and then push as hard as you can. Head touch the ceiling. Does that make sense? Space out just a little bit. What is, or rather, what they think the most effective way to jump would be? To jump with both feet at the same time. Do you think you can jump higher with one foot on the ground or with both feet pushing at the same time? Both feet. So, don't limit yourself to only jumping with one foot. Push on with both feet, then we'll switch in the air. Group up one more time. Load and push. So again, you are trying to get as high as you can. Don't worry about your legs and coming back down. Just worry about getting your head as high as you can. Trying to get the top of your head touch the ceiling. One more time, or a couple more times. Load, push, load, push. And come back in. I want you guys to work on allowing a little bit of comfort space. Does that make sense? Step back just a little bit. Load, launch, safe land. So you're going to end up landing probably in a little bit of a light squat. If I don't, I'm putting a lot of force on my knees, which is not good. 2 more times. Load, launch, soft land. Starting to feel good? You breaking the sweat? You said no. You say no, Mr. Goodwin? So, now that we're covering the jump, we're going to add in a little bit of the kick. So we've got our 2 ways we do our jump front kick. We have our scissor action jump front kick, and then we've got our day front kick. So, one common issue I'll see with day uptracking is it will look like this. I'll try to go at an angle so we can see. This is what I end up seeing most often. It's that. Was it atrocious? No. Can it stand to have improvement? Yes. Can anyone, besides these 3, because they heard me talk about it last week, tell me, and you also have the answer, tell me what I could do better with that kick? And now Mr. Tate. Yes. Tuck the knee in. Allows me to get a little bit higher with that launch. Yes. More height. How do we get more height? Push with both feet into the ground as hard as you can. So, watch this kick. If you watch closely, I'm already shifting this foot in front, which is making me do a jump on one leg. What's the no-go? A jump on one leg. So what I want to do is focus on the jump, and then the kick comes after. So, this is what it's going to end up looking like at the end. Does that make sense? So to break that into chunks, what I'm doing is I'm jumping with both feet and pulling both knees up towards my shoulder. Then I am switching the spot of where my legs are at. Just like that. Does that make sense? And then lastly, what I'm doing, I'm throwing my kick out at the top of my jump. I'm not throwing it out on the way up, and and I'm not throwing it out on the way down. I'm throwing it out at the top. Does that make sense? So one more time, all together, what that looks like, jump, switch, kick, land. Does that make sense? First part, what's the first part? Jump with? But jump with what? Jump with both feet. Where do our knees go? Knees go up to our chest. What's the second part? Switch. Second part, we switch which part or which of our feet are in front. What's part 3? Kick where? Kick at the top. And then we implement our soft landing to protect our knee health. Everyone got that? All right, take one big step back. Work on that soft landing too. Cool. Set. Jump. Just because we're not jumping before a kick doesn't mean that we're pushing as hard as we can into the ground. You can only get as hard as you can if you're pushing hard into the ground. Part 2, we're going to add the switch in. Jump. When I say go, not right now. Jump, switch. Do you see what I'm doing as well? Can you tell me what else I'm doing besides switching? I'm bringing my left knee up. I'm driving my knee up. Just like I did with the front kick on the ground, I'm driving that knee up as I'm jumping. Does that make sense? Okay. We'll do like 3 jump switch. Does that make sense? And the first one, if you want, we can jump again, or if you want, switch back to the good side, and we can just do the good side for right now. Cool. This nice part. Kick where? Kick at the top. Part 1. Both feet. Jump with both feet. Part 2. Switch. Part 3. Kick at the top. Are you ready? Cool. Set. Hit. Now you have 2 single file lines with approximately equal size.
Pick a target. There you go. Don't kick up. Kick out. Got it. Good? Good. All right, remember where your height was? It was about head height for most of you. What height do you want it? Yep. Good. Where do you want it? You got it. Good. Good. Okay.
One thing I spotted, I saw lots of great jump kicks. You guys did a very good job. So you should be happy with how we're doing so far. One common theme I saw is watch my feet. What did I do? I did a cheat step. So watch my feet one more time. So what's the point of that? So I jump up and I go down. I'm having to accept my weight coming back down to the ground, which means I'm not quite ready to push off again. So if I do this cheat jump, my body's focusing on landing safely. It's not worried about loading for the next jump. It's worried about recovering from that last jump. Even if it was not a super hard jump, it still needs to accept the weight safely. So we want to work on loading without that pre-jump. Does that make sense?
A lot of you guys did not kick up. Sorry, did not kick out. You all had beautiful high jumps, but when you jumped, your knees went straight up to your chest. after it comes up to your chest, it needs to go forward. So don't just focus up. Focus on going out as well with your kick. Yes, sir?
So part one is the load and the jump. Part two is the switch. What's the important part of part two? Based off what Mr. Schaefer just said. The forward part. So if you remember, as I'm switching, my knee's not driving up. My knee is driving diagonally up and forward. So when we do our front kick, I don't bring my knee up. Do what? Or do we as a collective? Do we do that? No. We drive forward, right? So my foot, in order to end up higher, has to go up a little bit, but I'm not focusing on the up. I'm focusing on the forward. So, just like that with that knee, my knee is driving forward, but there's that little bit of up in there. So with that switch, you see my knee is driving forward, not just up. So I'm not just jumping like that, I'm jumping more so like that. Does that make sense? Part one. Both feet. Part two. Switch with the drive. Part three.
Kick at the top.
Kick at the top. And part kind of four. Land good. So that's how you're gonna do your day out. We're gonna have similar yet different components with our scissor action, because I ultimately have to kick or jump rather with one leg, because I suppose you could do a jump thing like that, but that doesn't make a lot of sense. So this one's slightly different. This one, I want you to think of it more as a skip. Who has played and or seen hit video game series Super Mario Brothers? Okay, so we need to pretend like we're hitting our box above our head. So you're gonna take this back leg and you're gonna drive up like the Super Mario. But don't forget this bottom leg. You still need to be able to kick. So the launch is a little bit different, but the principles are still the same. I'm going to launch, try to hit my knee, and then kick where? At the top. At the top. Good. One more time. I'm going to drive up, bring my knee up, kick at the top. Let's start with that. One more time. Part one. What's the word? Launch. Launch up. Part two. Switch, drive, three. Top, four. We'll get to that last part in a little bit. Spread out a little bit. So, this one is different. We're going to start with our good leg in front. And then, so, my good side is my right side. I'm going to have that in front. We're going to do three on each leg together. One is launch. Two is drive with the knee. Three is kick the top. Four is land safely. Everyone got that? Okay. Out the other one. Come on. Sit. And go.
How many of you guys know Poprocki? Knee kick, right? You guys should all know this, right? It's the basics. A lot of you guys just bring your leg up. You should bring it up with enough force to actually try and break something. If I bring my knee up good enough, I should not even have to really jump off my back leg. My back leg brings the power, so my second leg has to do less work. The faster, stronger you bring the back leg up, the easier it is to jump. So, When you do this the next time and when you hit the pads, drive. I'm using my knee, I'm using my hips to go up. That is how you get higher kicks. If you don't do that, or if you have your legs straight, you literally can't kick as high. Yes, sir?
Yes, sir.
Good.
When we do our scissor action, you have two options. You scoot back one step. With our scissor action, I can land with this leg and do a effortless kick, or you can land with both feet. Notice how my kick is compromised, my core went down a little bit. Overall, it's a more difficult technique, but it's something you can do, and it's an action you keep in mind. Come back here. Part one.
Jump with both legs.
Jump with both legs, or starts with an L. Launch. Part two. Drive, or switch. 3. Kick at the top 4. And safely. How do we feel with our jump kicks coming out of today? Better. So, ways to improve our jump kicks. Flexibility. Well, obviously we went over the components now. Hopefully we should feel safer jumping. Options to improve jump kicks. Flexibility. Strength training.
Practice jumping. If you want to get better at jumping, you have to jump more, right? If you want to get better at forms, you guys don't go do sparring. I hope not.
I do
right?
sparring. So, couple of options. If you're like, I now have a newfound love of jumping, work on stretching. If you want, work on doing squats, work on doing leg strength training if you have access to resistance training equipment, or simply just work on jumping more. You can work on box jumps. If you have mats in your studio or your club, see where you can set them up and where you can jump on top of them. Mr. Schaefer can attest, I can jump on the stuff that's this tall on me. So that means I can jump up and get my feet to land on stuff that's about here. So, you don't have to start at that, but you work your way up to that. Different stuff to do.
There are masters in the association that can jump or were able to jump at the peak of their flexibility or their pride. Jump, Rana's kick, hook, Rana's kick, hook, then land on the ground. If you can't do that yet, you can always improve your kicks. So, don't just think, oh, I can kick really high, my kick is good. Okay, can you throw 3 kicks at once? Can you throw 4 kicks without landing? Can you throw, jump, spin, hook, and land at the same time? There's always a way to improve.